Hi, everyone. Thanks for your patience and welcome to another Seller Candy webinar. We're excited to have everyone here for a highly informative session today. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Pasha Kanish. Pasha is the founder of AMZ Optimized. I'm going to give a quick intro here and then I will pass the mic to Pasha. We will open it up for questions at the end, so feel free to drop those in chat as we go. I'll keep track of those, but there'll be a session there. We'll also share the recording and replay with everyone after in the coming days once it's available. So quick intro, AMZ Optimized has been a partner of ours for a couple of years. Pasha and the team have an excellent reputation. Pasha is very active in the space and has been selling or managing brands on Amazon for over 15 years. Launched his first brand in college, grew that to 7 figures, decided it's a good time to drop out of college, and that led to the launch of AMZ Optimized. He's developed a unique approach to helping sellers navigate the complexities of the platform, and by focusing on really data-driven strategies and also having a deep understanding of the human element of e-commerce. So today's topic is going to be Start Strong, the 2026 Amazon growth plan. And Pasha will be talking about how to set up your brand for sustainable success this year with a clear roadmap, tight execution, and hopefully zero wasted motion. He'll walk through some practical planning framework that you could use to make smarter decisions in Q2 and beyond. And make sure you avoid scrambling as we get through the year. So we're excited to hear more. And with that, I will pass it to Pasha to get started.
Kelly, awesome. Thank you for that intro. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here with all of you guys. Thanks for all the attendees joining today. So I have a presentation. I would love to share my screen. Let me know if you can see that. Are we good, Kelly?
Yes, we can see that.
All right. So I'll start by just speaking a little bit about the presentation, about myself. So I actually just sold my brand 2 months ago, and I learned a couple things building that brand. As it was my second exit, I'm very excited to have finally made it to the finish line. My first exit was to my partner, so this was more of an actual acquisition. And so what we have seen across the accounts that we manage, and just kind of from my own experience managing the brand, is if you do the right things, you can definitely see growth on Amazon, but it is hard. And I won't go through every single one of these metrics because this is a long presentation, and for the sake of time, I'll just keep it high level, but I'm happy to provide this presentation to anybody who's interested in it. So feel free to reach out to myself or Kelly afterwards if you want some of these more fine details. But these are just some of the results that we were able to find. Profit increases, DSP attributed sales, new to brand customers through DSP. I'll be talking a lot about DSP. 20% higher conversion from premium A+ versus standard A+. That's a big one for us that we've seen. Just everybody should be using all the modules. Listings with video converting at a higher rate, and then a better long tail search term indexing with proper backend optimization. So again, about myself, 15 years plus on Amazon. It's true. College dropout, left in my last semester, so I never collected my diploma. So never looked back since then. I'm pretty happy about that. And AMZ Optimized is a full service agency. We have been operating since 2019, and we're currently managing multiple 8 figures of revenue across the portfolio of brands that we manage. And I also have a podcast called Agency Operators Podcast. We record pretty much weekly. We do webinars as well, and sign up to our newsletter too. So we create a lot of content, as Kelly mentioned. Also, quick flex.
Real quick, there's a little bit of feedback in the mic. I'm not sure if there's a way to just reset that quickly. It's not that bad.
Let me reset
if we need to. But
just give me a sec.
Sure.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Much better. Thanks.
All right. Sometimes I have to unplug that thing. All right, cool. So I was going to say, quick flex from Prosper this year. We were the AI Hackathon champions. A team of strangers and myself worked together to create a tool that turns that inventory into sell-through with intelligent bundling. So that was a really fun event. And so today's agenda is really around advertising, listings, and catalog. Those are the primary pillars that we focus on as a company. And there are some things that we've seen in each one of these that are not obvious, maybe obvious to others, but these are the low-hanging fruit that are accessible at a lot of different stages of growth, whether you are 6-figure brand, 7-figure brand. Maybe some of these things don't apply if you're really just starting on Amazon. So this is geared towards growth once you get a lot of the basics covered. So I'll start with Amazon DSP, and again, I'm gonna skim through some of these sections because it does get technical. Some of these sections can take a long time to get through. So for the sake of time, I'll just run through it. But what is Amazon DSP? So if you mastered PPC already, you're winning at the bottom of the funnel. So things like sponsored products and sponsored brands, they catch shoppers who are already searching. But DSP is a little bit different because it allows you to run display, video, streaming TV, and audio ads that reach shoppers before, during, and after they're on Amazon. So you're not just limited to the Amazon pool. You can get outside of it using Amazon's data. So Amazon gives their first-party shopping data about existing customers, and that paired with external ads is really the power that DSP brings. So it helps you to protect your category position, bring back customers at the right moment, reach shoppers who aren't actually even searching for your product. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Acquire new to brand customers, which is the big one, and bring back people who actually didn't convert. So they came on the page and they left, and now you can retarget them. So what the full funnel looks like with DSP and PPC together, PPC being a term for AMS actually. It's the regular sponsored product, sponsored display, the native Amazon ads. I'm going to refer to as PPC for simplicity. So DSP would be step one, where you're bringing awareness. So they see like a display ad somewhere. Let's say in this example, it's IMDb or any of the other properties that you can advertise on that are either owned by Amazon or they have agreements with these properties. Then moving into consideration. So in this case, the person with the awareness, a lady is shopping and she is looking at skincare, right? So she has some kind of skincare purchase in the last 60 days and regular PPC can't reach her because she's not on Amazon right now. So something reaches out to her, she gets an ad, she visits the listing, reads the reviews, and she bounces, she leaves. And once she leaves Amazon, the PPC can't touch her. And so we would use DSP again to retarget, giving her a display ad, following her across maybe some of her favorite lifestyle blogs or something that she's watching that's relevant on Fire TV. And now she searches for best moisturizer for dry skin, and then a sponsored product ad appears for PPC, and then a new to brand customer was acquired. So there's a bit of a multi-touch point approach here, where there is DSP at the top of the funnel, kind of bringing that customer in and out of Amazon, and then finally the conversion happens. And so that's all because they share the same data. And so DSP shows up in places like Fire TV, IMDb, as I mentioned. This is what placements would look like. Prime Video or other websites. There's thousands of these websites that Amazon can target on. So it really just depends on where you want to set it up and how you want to set it up. So I'm going to just on a high level, I thought this would be interesting for people to see what it looks like on a structural level. For those of you who understand how Amazon PPC works and how you structure campaigns and ad groups and auto and exact match and all of that type of setup, it would be interesting to see how DSP works. It's a little bit different. So you can get a sense of you're actually buying not cost per clicks, but cost per 1,000 views. And the way that you're structuring it is with orders and line items. So we would start with creating the order, selecting what kind of type that we want. So if it's display or streaming TV, audio or online video. So you pick all that, what your goal would be. So this looks more similar to what you would see maybe in the console when you're setting up like a Meta ad or a Google ad. And so you would set up a flight with a budget, kind of start and end date, what to do with the unused budget, any kind of conversion tracking that you can add. This is pretty powerful. Ad off Amazon conversions. That's pretty amazing. You can get a pixel on your website. Then you'd create the line item underneath. And there's an option even for something like Performance Plus as a line item, which we would not necessarily recommend, but it's more of like a PMAX campaign. If you're familiar with what those are externally, they basically use machine learning. It's automated, but whenever you use any kind of automation in any of these platforms, you're giving up a bit of granularity and control that would inform you later on to get more dialed in and get better results long term. So we always recommend doing things manually. So again, we're picking media, we're selecting the product and service category that makes sense for us, what device we want to target, what mobile environment we want to target, what publishers we're interested in targeting. And then you would end up with many line items per audience. So you would have 6, in this case, line items per audience. And because we're testing different cells, so you can see here, we're testing all display ads for new home buyers, but we're doing different kind of targeting for mobile and for desktop. And this is how you test things and see what is getting better results, and then you scale the things that are working well. So that's why granularity is so important. So again, kind of refining that targeting by selecting what product specific ASINs that you want to target, what in-market audiences that are shopping, which categories you want to go for, which keywords are relevant to the audience and to the product that you're trying to advertise. And then setting up line item budgets and selecting how the pacing would work, how the spend allocation goes over time, and how many times a shopper can see the ad. So you're setting up the frequency. So if you're doing a lower funnel position, you would want that to show up more times per day. If you're doing mid funnel a little less and upper funnel a little less from that. So you're setting up a funnel approach where you're trying to show the same ad maybe multiple times depending on what stage the buyer is at and what you're actually going after, what kind of mid, high, or low funnel targeting. Same thing with setting up the bids. In this case, we would actually set up automatic bidding because we don't want to set any kind of limits, and we can actually see. And then we can then go back and make modifications if we see that a certain bid makes the more sense, or if we have some kind of restrictions for budget. But for initial testing purposes, we would want to automatically optimize that. So this is just like a recap going over what we just said about DSP, and then some of the real results we've seen with a DSP strategy. We had one client in Q4. Of course, Q4 is a strong time for many sellers, but using DSP, we were able to see some pretty great results. I would go through the results here. So we looked at Q3 versus Q4, and of course, the product sales were higher, and so the total ad spend was higher. The ROAS went down, but here's the amazing part. The new to brand purchases went up from 2,000 to 9,000. And when we're talking about new to brand purchases, that just increases the overall business as a whole, because you're getting, especially if you have a product that has some kind of subscription involved, the lifetime customer value and the average order value, all of these metrics, they start to get better. New to brand customer acquisition cost did go up a little bit. So as you scale up, of course, you'll start seeing higher. You can give up a little bit of ROAS and a little bit of cost. But for this amount of volume of increase of new to brand purchases, it's really all worth it. And we were able to see a lot of that result being captured as well, moving into Q1 and Q2 and so on. So that's a little bit about DSP. Hopefully that was interesting to some. Hopefully you got some value out of that. I'll talk a little bit about listings next. Kelly, how are we doing on time, by the way?
Good. The pace is fine. We have till about 15 more minutes, but we can continue this longer if everyone can stay around. Again, if you have to drop off, we will be sharing the full recording. So take as long as you need, Pasha.
Awesome. We have 2 more sections. So I'll go through a couple things on content now, just talking a little bit about premium A+, brand story, and video content, and why they're so important, and why actually I see that they're being underutilized by many sellers, which is surprising to me, because these are modules that are available to everybody for the most part with certain caveats, and you can fill them out for free. So premium A+ content is a must if you can do it, meaning if you have the ability to upload it. I'll get over here. It says 5 approved A+ projects are needed with a brand story. That's the only prerequisite for premium A+ content. Many people don't even have standard A+, but you should have. But even if you do have it, in many cases, it doesn't differentiate you on a high level. Once you start really getting competitive in the category, it's not the thing that really makes you stand out. This is an opportunity. You can see the standard versus premium. This is an opportunity to have a lot better, high quality content available to really sell the point of what is the unique selling point of your product, what makes you better, what can justify the higher price point potentially. So we all know that Amazon is very difficult to compete on commodities these days if there's going to be a lot of direct Chinese competitors coming and undercutting on price. So branding has become more important than ever. And this is how you do it, right? You have more modules filled out. So you can have video modules and enhanced carousels, Q&A, a better type of comparison chart than what you can have on the regular standard is just sort of like a chart, like an Excel sheet looking chart. This is a different kind of comparison table view. Hotspots, you hover over these little dots here. Larger image real estate. So you get more space, right? You can put product video. You have a chance to nail your branding elements there and use all these interactive modules. And so Amazon themselves actually cite up to 20% higher conversion and 15 to 20% average sales lift when brands are upgrading into premium A+. And these interactive modules drive 25% up to 25% higher time on listing engagement, which makes sense because you're giving them more to look at so they stick around longer. Similar type of thing with brand story. So there's no reason why you shouldn't set up a brand story. It's a prerequisite again for premium A+. But this is a chance where you can design something once and have it set up across all of your listings. You can do a brand Q&A, a brand logo with a description about your company, and then a focus image, and then maybe even a showcase of multiple different ASINs. So there's some cross promotion that happens there. And as long as you're a brand registered, you can set that up pretty easily. You can use it to build buyer trust, which is the main thing that branding basically is connecting with people in a way that makes them feel like, all right, these guys are specialists in this arena, and I'm willing to pay sometimes a premium to have that guarantee that these guys know what they're doing. There's going to be a lower chance that I'm going to be disappointed with this purchase. I'm going to have to do returns and deal with all these uncomfortable things. So it gives people confidence and they connect with your brand. So how it works to your advantage, the cross-selling aspect at zero ad spend is probably the key one. I would say that if you can have more visibility on your different products and have that kind of cross promotion that happens, especially if you're sending ad traffic to that listing, it's free, right? You get exposure to your other products for free, and that's very valuable. So once again, you go into advertising, A+ content manager, and then start creating A+ content. And here you just create a brand story by following this. And you need 5 basic ones approved by Amazon. By the way, it's not that you just publish it, right? You want to have content that Amazon likes. They sometimes they don't approve things that have terms that they're unhappy with, and those terms are always changing. So it depends on what category you're in. But if you have 5 of them published, you can start uploading premium. And video content. So there's actually 4 different places that you can use video on Amazon that we've determined, and they all have their own reason for use. And there's a little bit of a difference in how you use it. So a sponsored brand video ad, it autoplays silently in the search results, and it has just about 3 seconds to earn attention. So you want to lead with the product and not with your logo and spend those first 3 seconds just showing your logo. That's one mistake we see a lot. So you have to be direct here. Then you have the listing image carousel, which also autoplays silently on mobile and is unfortunately the last thumbnail on desktop. Although good news, most people buy it on mobile. It's more than 50%. I believe the metric was 70%, something like that, buy on mobile. And so all of this needs to work without sound. Don't rely on the sound to make the selling have a lot of language there. You want to have words on the video and use it to show the product in real use and answer the objection that would stop conversion potentially. Find out what that might be through the reviews. You can put it on your Amazon storefront. You can have video there and use it as a way to do more brand storytelling and showcasing your product range rather than being specific on a single product. And then, of course, you can have it in the A+ content. And remember that if someone's looking at your A+ content, premium A+, they're already engaged with your product. They're just trying to learn more. So use that as an opportunity to go deeper on one specific feature. So best practices is just lead with the product, not with your brand unless it's a branded video. Build for silent viewing because as I mentioned, it all autoplays without sound, just like you see right here. And solve one problem per video. So this is a cocktail machine, and you can see that it's beautiful, it's clear, it's simple, and we're using words on the screen to do the talking for us and do the selling. So why it's not optional, video listings convert at 3.6x the rate. That's also industry standard provided by Amazon. You get fewer returns because people have more accuracy in terms of what their expectations should be. Over 60%, so actually the metric was 60% of purchases happen on mobile, and most listings actually don't have video at all. And these days with AI, it's kind of amazing. You can do so many things and get things done, even if you don't have expensive photo shoots or video shoots already done. You can use AI. Even just like a quick tip on that, you can take up a few pictures of your product with your cell phone, upload it into something like Google Gemini and get some nice AI photos made. And then you can take those photos into a tool like Google Flow, which is their video creation tool. It's not a chat, it's an actual platform. And you can use those base photos that you've generated and then turn them into motion and give life to them. So there's so many ways these days to inexpensively make video. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to with a small budget, have a primary video for your product. So we're going to go through the last section here, 3 catalog fixes that can unlock significant hidden growth. And this section is a bit shorter than the other one, so I'll run through this pretty quick. So the first one is variation families. I can't express how important this is. Even with the fact that Amazon started splitting up reviews, that's sad news for everybody. But if you can launch a new product and stick it to a product that already has sales, if they're close enough in terms of their similarity, then that's a great way to launch that product, because that existing product that has sales already has visibility. You might have good ads running to it. And so you're just giving that traffic to whatever you just launched versus starting completely from scratch. And you're able to diverse that across the entire family or the entire portfolio of variations. With bundling, that's the thing that won our AI hackathon. So again, we built something called Zombie Slayer AI, which identifies dead and underperforming inventory and turn it into sell-through with bundling. So products that don't convert alone often do convert together. So it's the same type of idea that I just went through, where you're sticking products that are slow to products that are faster. And so together they create a net lift, even if there is a discount with the bundling option. So bundling in practice, this is an example of a skincare company where a couple of their SKUs are moving a little slower than others, maybe some of their more expensive ones. And so we did a 12% discount on buying the entire bundle at $187, and it was successful because there was a higher perceived value in the bundle, because again, that 12% discount compared to buying everything individually. You get clear immediate positioning with one title that talks about the entire, in this case, skincare routine, right? Morning, night, and reset care. So we're bundling things that make sense. That inventory was unlocked, and we were basically putting together this 24-hour routine that people could buy into as a standalone individual ASIN. And then with backend optimization, this is pretty important because nobody really fills it out. And we built a tool for this called AMZ Brain. If you want to check it out, it's amzbrain.ai. And basically, this is a tool that solves for some of this, because a lot of people don't spend the time to go in there and look at all of the valid values that are relative to their subcategory. But we've seen with Cosmo and Rufus that semantic understanding and intent-based search is becoming the more prominent way that Amazon is delivering results. And so we want to make sure that we're not just keyword stuffing or guessing in the back end, that we're actually matching things. And in the front end as well. So Amazon looks at these 15 primary questions to answer about what is this product, who is it for, and what are the attributes that are related to what we know about the customer, so we can make a proper match. So you would really have to fill them out manually by going and downloading you'd go into your inventory, go to add products via upload, and get a blank template for your category. And there's thousands of categories. This is called the Browse Tree Guide. And in there, you have a field called valid values. And you can see this in the UI of your listing editing section. It's some of the fields, they have a drop down with those valid values there, but sometimes they're not fully visible for every single one. And so the only way to guarantee that what your valid values are by actually going into the file. And so that's kind of the tool that we've built is you would download this and a couple other things that we would ask for and upload, and we use AI to basically match the valid values and what we can learn about your product to give you actually what you should fill out the backend with. And in the next iteration, which we're very close to launching right now, it would basically we would do all of that for you, where you don't have to actually download any files. All of that is just kind of automatic. So it really does save a lot of time. But in any case, just for the purpose of the educational value of this, everybody should try to fill out all of these sections as much as they can, so they can index, so you can index for the long tail keywords that are relative to your product and your subcategory. So with that, we see 30 to 40% more long tail search terms being indexed, and you're paying for traffic that you should own organically if you're not really doing it, because you're compensating for that with CPC. That's the biggest thing that we see driving brands backwards, is they're trying to make up for the lack of organic setup by pushing ads. you should use ads as a way to drive the listing forward, but your listing has to be primed for that organic take. And if you don't have valid values in the back end, then they're just not picked up by Amazon in general. So I already went over what AMZ Brain does. You extract, we match things, and then you get an SEO file that you can deliver into the back end and to the front end. So that concludes most of what I wanted to talk about today. If anybody's interested in a one-on-one scorecard call with myself, I'm happy to do that for everybody. I value these at about $500. So $500 is what I normally charge for consulting. And so here I would just go through your account. You would get a full breakdown of what's not working across your ads, listings, and catalog, some clear direction on what to scale, product level view, and a written scorecard. So I would go through a questionnaire on the call. I'd upload the transcript into my pre-trained model on Claude, and that's how I would generate the scorecard. So happy to do that for anybody on this webinar, anybody's watching live or the recording, but grab the spots. I think I'm kind of booked up for this week because I did this presentation last week and I got a lot of people interested in that. So happy to do these for anybody interested. Probably next week is when the booking. So if you do the QR code or just go here to amzoptimize.com/scorecard, it would open up my calendar link and then you can just book that call. Thanks. I'll leave this on the screen for anybody last minute here. That's it, Kelly.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Pasha. That was great. Very informative. We'll open it up for questions from anyone. I'm happy to kick it off, actually. A couple things came up there, but is there a moment in the growth phase where it makes sense to start thinking about DSP? We have people here from all different, let's say, timelines in their journey on Amazon. What are the things you're looking for with the brand before you actually go into that launch phase there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's definitely the thing that comes up is like, when is a brand ready for DSP? I would say that it's not $1 that they would spend. I would say that you would probably start with making sure your listings are in a good spot, doing all the things that I mentioned here, and having your ads pretty much dialed in. Once you start feeling like, all right, I'm starting to max out what I can possibly capture here within this existing pool, that's when I would start widening the pool. So if you want to put a number on it, let's say anywhere between 50 to 100K per month as a revenue figure, starting there, I would say is when you can start considering DSP. So if you're starting to feel like you're somewhere there or higher in terms of your revenue, and you're just like, man, I've done all this optimization and we're just like plateauing, that's when DSP is a great option.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Pasha. Any questions from any attendees? Just make sure you have everyone in the drop down if you're going to put any questions into the chat. I guess just one more from me, Pasha. I noticed you're using AI for some tools, both internal, obviously understanding everything that Amazon is rolling out. Really interesting to see the brain tool and also hear how you're using it in your everyday conversations with clients, as we are as well. But any other areas in the business that you're seeing a lot of opportunity for, or that Amazon sellers could be thinking about building some simple tools themselves?
I would say that Claude is very incredible. And I think if you have a team or a small org, or even for yourself, I recommend getting a pro subscription for your team. And you can do things like create projects and have pre-built systems and mini applications that you can build to solve most problems or to help with automating or streamlining most issues within your company. It just requires a little creativity, but you can get a lot done with it. So as I mentioned, I use AI for these scorecards as a simple example, but we use it in many other ways. We built that tool, not just on Claude. There's an entire logic engine, more of a kind of a machine learning type of situation. But I built a lot of small applications to help with little things on Claude. And so it's just a matter of chatting with it. Everybody has their own unique thing. But that example that I gave earlier with content is a great low-hanging fruit for creating something where you don't have any material at all to start with. If you're looking to build out, let's say, a digital listing somewhere, a PDP somewhere, it doesn't even have to be Amazon, where again, you just take photos of the product with your cell phone, upload all those photos into something like Nano Banana with Gemini and get a couple iterations, find one that you like, upload that into Google Flow, and then prompt what the scene would look like and what happens in that first 5 seconds. And then you'll see that image come to life. And then you can extend that clip to 10 seconds or 15 seconds. and then you can add some text overlay, or you can even do that in another program or hire a freelancer to do that. So this is an inexpensive way to create reasonably high quality content for something that has zero. You're literally just with a product on a table and your cell phone, and you end up with something that could actually help to explain what the product is, what its unique selling points are, and help to make sales.
Awesome. That's really helpful. We're also using Cloud Code to help build dashboards, to help all the different systems that we use communicate, and it's amazing. So everyone should definitely try that out. The only question we have in here is just, can we get a copy of the slides? So Pasha, if that's okay, you can send those over. We'll include that on the email with the replay.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Great. Well, thank you again, Pasha. This was excellent. Thanks everyone for joining as well. We're excited to have you on again in the future.
Looking forward to it. I appreciate everyone's attention, and hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you booked some time with me. And Kelly, I really appreciate you having me on today.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Take care, everyone.
Bye.